Hello and welcome back to Tim Talks. I'm going to talk about the song Cocaine Powder off our album Good Time Suicide. It's kind of a crowd favorite, and I feel like one of the more misunderstood PBR songs. I'm going to try and give a little context to it and the where it was in life when those lyrics came about, and uh, and then I'm going to dive into the lyrics and talk a little bit about the writing and some of the more interesting lines. So this song came to be. Um, I was about to finish up an English degree at VCU, and I had one semester left, and I had kind of gotten into this like paralyzing depression where I had actually gotten clean off of opiates for 8 months, but I got a studio apartment on Franklin. I was living alone and got to the point where I was drinking and smoking so much and using so many other drugs that yeah, I was just as bad off as when I was using dope. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't clean up anything, do any laundry, do any dishes, do any schoolwork, and so my apartment was a wreck. I was a wreck, and I pretty much blown the whole first half of the semester. I hadn't been going to class very much. I hadn't been doing the homework or the assignments, and I'd been getting bad grades on the tests accordingly. So the midterm is coming up right before spring break, and I go into the VCU guidance office, and I'm like, um, make an appointment, go in and meet them, and I, you know, explain to them that I've been kind of paralyzed for like a couple of months and haven't been able to get anything done, and pretty much spell out the symptoms to bipolar because I don't know if I have bipolar or not, but a lot of times uh, my like drug use and substance habits will imitate the symptoms of bipolar. A lot of high highs and low lows. So I go in there trying to convince them that I have bipolar and get a medical withdrawal from my classes so that I won't lose the money for that semester because it's like 5 grand or something, and and I can't afford to pay that back, and I can't afford to owe it to the school or to my parents or whoever. So I'm in there trying to get a medical withdrawal for bipolar. They bite, they take the bait, and they're like, "Oh, sounds like you have bipolar." I'm like, "Cool. Could I get like a medical withdrawal from my classes for that? Like as an excuse, why I'm flunking this semester?" And they're like, "Oh, you can't get a medical withdrawal for that." I'm like, "What can you get a medical withdrawal for?" They're like, um, "Suicide." So I go home and I hunt down some Xanax and some Opana. I'd been just getting drunk and going around town asking people for benzos and opiates to kill myself, and the couple people who weren't great friends were just like, no, I don't really know where to find it, but I'll let you know if I do. So then I get some Xanax, and then I'm skating around, and I fall down in the road and almost get hit by this Jeep. And in the Jeep is one of my old friends who used. So I'm like, "You know where to get anything?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I have some Opana," which is apparently like two Oxy 80s in one pill. And I had no tolerance to opiates because it had been the better part of a year since I'd used, and and I didn't even want to relapse. I just wanted to get in a good suicide attempt. And where I was mentally, it was kind of like, if if I kill myself successfully, who cares? And if I don't, great. Then I'll get a withdrawal from school and be able to not lose that money. So me and Jared are hanging out, and he doesn't know that I'm trying to kill myself. He thinks that we're just getting high. So we we take the drugs, and then I'm passing out like immediately. It's hitting me, and so he doesn't know what to do. He's like, "Well, let's get you over to your sister's house," and he kind of like carries me on his shoulder, like leaning. I don't remember the walk, but I couldn't have been much help. He um, he got me over to my sister's house, which was probably half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, very long walk. We get there, and I'm just falling asleep on the couch, passing out, and they're like, whatever. So they walk in the other room, and my sister's dog, who was, me and the dog were good friends, it was trying to play with me, and I was passed out on the couch, and it was like nudging me with its nose, and it knocked me off the couch, and I fell forward off the couch onto like my knees and my forehead, like a tripod on the hardwood floor, and my sister and Jared heard me hit the ground, came in there, and I'm like, and the tripod passed out with vomit coming out of my mouth. So they roll me over, call 911 because I'm overdosing, and they said in the next like 5 6 minutes, I took one breath. It was just like all of a sudden, and fortunately, I used to be able to hold my breath for 3 minutes at a time. Like I would do it to win bets, and for fun. So I didn't have any brain damage or anything from not breathing. If they get there, they put Narcan in my arm, like they put a shot in me, and I was like passed out like this, and I sat right up, broke the fucking needle, like bent it in half that was in my arm, and I was like, what's going on? I was like, is that my puke? Like, I'm sorry, Michelle, I didn't mean to puke on your floor, and like I start trying to clean it up, and I look at the paramedics, I'm like, there must be some sort of mistake, I was just asleep. And they're like, no, you were having a drug overdose. You'd taken one breath in the last 5 minutes, and we just saved you. Like, you're coming with us because this Narcan lasts like 45 minutes, and then you're gonna go back into overdosing once that wears off. So I'm like, all right. And they took me to the hospital and monitored me, and I pulled through, obviously. And so I go into my classes on Monday, and with my pamphlet from MCV, the hospital of VCU, for people not from Richmond watching. And I go to my teachers and I'm like, hey, I tried to kill myself on Friday. Can I get an extension on the midterms? And they were all like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine if I can get an extension on the midterms. So all my teachers were like, okay, sure. And I so I got like completely clean off of the even like the booze and the weed and the Xanax and all the other drugs and shit. Like so in that like week, it ends up being like spring break, and I get to take my midterms after spring break. So I have like a whole extra week to cram and like read every textbook for all my classes and learn everything. And I do that. I do every homework assignment and every assignment I missed for every class and turn them all in at the end of spring break. And some of the teachers gave me half credit or partial credit for some of that work, and I got by on my midterms and ended up being able to pass the classes and not lose the money. And I didn't even have to get the medical withdrawal. Just that extension on the midterms was enough. So after that, my head cleared a little bit. I realized how fucking insane I'd been. Just taking like a coin toss on dying for a fucking medical withdrawal from some classes. And so, like I said, I got clean off of everything for about 6 months. And during that time is when I wrote the lyrics for Cocaine Powder. And I must have written like 15 or 20 verses for it, and there was all kinds of goofy little plays on cocaine and puns. Like I was racking my brain trying to see if I could remember any of the old verses that didn't make it. I can remember one of them. I wrote it down. Is like, if you were made of golden tin, I'd already have turned you in. Fuck a bag of heroin, give me cocaine powder. Um, but yeah, there's a bunch of extra verses like that I edited through and picked my favorite ones. And so yeah, that's the story of where I was when this song got written, and it was pretty tongue in cheek. Like cocaine at that point had never been like my drug of choice. I'd always that was one that never like as much that an addictive personality. Um, I wasn't like a big cokehead. I wasn't looking for that all the time or doing it very often. And so this song was really tongue in cheek at combination of the ways I'd felt when I was doing coke and what I saw on other people who were like uh, more addicted to it and stuff. So like in that first verse, that line, "I'm starving but I can't eat." That that's one of my favorite lines, just because the same girl who left me lying by the stairs and leaves die that we talked about in the other Tim talk. Uh, oh yeah, she used to get a lot of amphetamine salts. I don't remember which kind, like Adderall or something, um, from her fiance, and we used to, just get really stoned and snort a bunch of her Adderall like every day. And every day I'd be so hungry, but I couldn't eat, and I'd just constantly be opening the fridge and be like, "Ah, I don't want anything in there." Close the fridge, and then be like, "Oh, but I'm so hungry." Open the fridge. "Ah, I don't want any of that shit." Close the fridge again. It's over and over. And so yeah, that starting but I cannot eat thing is one of the truest and most annoying lines in this song. Um, and another line that I like a lot is the seven sleepless nights make one weak mind. When I was younger, I used to always see those T-shirts that are like the soccer kids would wear and stuff. It'd be like, 7 days without soccer makes one week, like WEAK makes one week. And so yeah, I just kind of use that little play on words for the seven sleepless nights make one week mind. And God, I need a shower because I always stink. um, Insufflated all my funds. I thought that insufflated is a pretty awesome four syllable word for snort, and I wanted to work that in there somewhere and did. And the 2020s line, um, I always thought it was ironic how we'd have like all this money to spend on drugs, and then but we were always snorting it with like rolled up $1 bills. So there's like the 20 $20 bills through a rolled up one, or 20 $20 bills through a smoking gun. Like it's like kind of having a gun to your head, getting addicted to drugs and using really addictive drugs. Um, and recently I've been saying 20 $20 bills in a folded up one filled with cocaine powder, because a lot of times buy coke and then they'll like put it in just like a $1 bill folded up. And yeah. Oh yeah, and a big thing about this song is that in the music, it's got that bipolar feel. Like uh, I was obsessed with playing songs in A minor, and I was getting a little bit like self conscious about it. Like, oh, I don't want to be a one trick pony, or I don't want to like um, play similar songs. And because I had that song "Only Insane" with that boom ba boom ba boom ba boom ba, sort of like bouncing thing that's similar to what cocaine has, and they're both in A minor. Um, but Raph showed me the band Gogol Bordello, and back then, 2011 or 12 or something, we were down in Savannah, Georgia. I'll never fucking forget the first time I put on "Start Wearing Purple." It was like, yeah, I could do that like 10 or 12 more times. And so I realized listening to Gogol Bordello that like they don't shy away from that. They'll play a bunch of fucking songs in A minor, and they're all sweet. And "Start Wearing Purple" um, is very few chords in the song. I think it's only like three chords. So I was inspired to like um, really just go for something simple that I like the sound of, and not worry about like it not having enough technical flash and stuff. You know, there's a lot of bands that I think have an unbelievable amount of technical ability, like, and sometimes I feel like what they play doesn't sound good because they're just trying to make sure that you know how good they are at their instrument. I'm like, play shit that sounds good, not that fucking looks cool when your fingers do it. But so I'm like, yeah, I'll make this song with just two chords, A minor and E, and oh yeah, and another thing about the format that I'd seen in like Modest Mouse songs that I was obsessed with was the the bipolar in the fucking in the song, like these soft parts and then these fucking absolute crazy parts, and that juxtaposition really makes the crazy parts crazier and the soft parts even like creepier, you know. And so yeah, and it's like a perfect metaphor for doing cocaine too, when like the down times are like, I'm so strung out, I can't eat, I'm starving, like fucking can't sleep, nothing. And then like hit the gas, kick up a gear. Is anyone else awake in here? My mind's never felt so clear, never so empowered. Like immediately manic and on the other side of the spectrum. And yeah, I really like how the song imitates cocaine use and like musically with all the ups and downs and ups and downs, and the lyrics follow the mania and the depression like perfectly. Um, so yeah, it's a song that has bipolar disorder, and it I don't know, it opened some doors to some of my inspirations to see how they do things, but I really felt like the song got away from us in that it it seems to have really encouraged a lot of cocaine use, and when it was written, I was clean off of everything and writing a tongue-in-cheek song about how like uh, all that mania and those fun times on cocaine are like uh, what's the word for it? I don't know. They're just always accompanied by the lows. Yeah, and sometimes people write fucking pop songs about I can't feel my face when I'm with you and shit like that, and just make it seem like all such a positive experience. And I wanted to be real about it, but it kind of feels like the warning part didn't come across, and the like just saying cocaine in a song, it makes everybody who likes cocaine go yeah, and I'm not like judgmental. I've done plenty of cocaine in my life, and yeah, I don't like give people shit when they do it, but it's just funny that this song wasn't meant to be an encouragement. If anything, um, more of an expose or a warning or something. But yeah, that's cocaine powder. Some of the context, some of the meanings of the lyrics. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I'm Tim from People's Blues of Richmond. Thanks for tuning in.